big news all over Texas athletics. The MLB playoffs are upon us, and we'll even talk a little bit of NBA. All this and more coming up on College Crossfire.
What the hell's the rest of it?
Here's the rest of it.
Taylor's not even here to defend himself.
I'm so excited.
Hello and welcome into another episode of College Crossfire. I'm your host, Jeff Barker. We've got a lot to discuss tonight, but before we get into it, let's introduce tonight's panel. To my immediate right, we have Peter Splendorio, returning as the defending champion. Peter, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm ready to defend my title.
Wonderful. And in the middle, we have Jordan Cannon, sports director of TSTV. How you doing tonight, Jordan?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. And last but not least, we have Camille Brooks making her debut on College Crossfire. Camille, how you doing?
I'm good.
Good. Feeling ready to go?
We'll see.
All righty.
We'll see.
Well, big news coming from atop the Texas Athletic Department. On Monday, current athletic director DeLoss Dodds announced that he is going to step down in August of 2014. Dodds has been the Texas men's athletic director since 1981. In his 32 years, Texas has won 14 national championships in 4 different sports. So, panelists, with Dodds stepping down, what are your expectations for the future of UT athletics? Peter, go ahead and start with you.
Actually, I don't expect much of a change, Jeff. This is still the highest earning program in college athletics. They're going to get a great replacement for him. Anybody who's going to come in is going to be highly qualified. They still have all of the money and the resources to do what they need to do. I'm not expecting too much of a change. I think this is going to be an athletics department that's on the upswing, and I think whenever they bring somebody in, it's just going to supplement that.
Okay, so Peter says no change. Texas athletics will be just fine. Jordan, what do you think?
Okay. I've been saying this for at least a year now. The reason that DeLoss Dodds is leaving in August is because they're going to replace Mac Brown with a new coach and move Mac Brown up to athletic director. I've been saying this for a year.
That's my theory.
I've been saying this for a year, and I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. And, I mean, everybody likes Mac Brown, so I don't think that the quality of the men's athletic department is going to go down at all.
Okay, so you think they're going to do that maybe to not fire Mac?
Yes,
and
I don't, like, how, I just feel like, A, Mac would not want to leave Texas, and B, I don't think anybody wants Mac to leave Texas. They just want him to vacate the head coach position.
Okay.
So what better spot than essentially fundraiser and overlooker of all the athletics?
Okay, so Jordan says Mac Brown as athletic director in August 2014. Camille, what do you think?
That is my exact theory. I thought Mac Brown was going to replace Dodds as athletic coordinator because I don't think they'd ever fire Mac Brown, and I don't think he would step down because he's been here for so long. So I think that if they moved him up, that's easy for them to get a new replacement, someone who's so beloved to Texas, and then also we can have a new football coach.
You know, Peter, I saw you shaking your head over there. You got anything to come back with real quick?
I just disagree. I don't think that you can just move somebody to such a high position as athletic director just because you don't want to fire him. Mac Brown has expressed countless times how he wants to continue coaching through the end of his contract, which ends in 2020. And I don't think that they're going to move somebody just to such a high position just so they don't have to fire him.
Okay. I like the point you made there, but I think we're going to have to go with Jordan and Camille coming right away with the big, bold predictions right here. So Jordan and Camille are going to go ahead and get the point to start us off. So staying in our own backyard, there's a football game going on tomorrow night. The Texas Longhorns are 9-1 all-time against Iowa State, and they will take the field Thursday night as an 8-point favorite. But watch out for the Cyclones on weekdays. Dating back to the 2008 season, they're 7-2 in games played on Thursday or Friday, and 20-36 in games played on Saturday. The Longhorns beat Kansas State 2 weeks ago, a team they hadn't beaten since 2003, and had a bye week this past Saturday. And with David Ash staying in Austin and Case McCoy set as a starter, will the Longhorns be able to carry momentum into Ames on Thursday night and pull out a win? Jordan, we'll start with you.
I think that they are definitely going to win this game because, and Peter can attest to this when he answers, but the focus of their Mac Monday press conference was A, the fact that yes, this is a Thursday game, so it's different, but B, they are not going to fall and let this be a trap game. So I think they're really focused, really prepared, and I think they're going to come out with a strong win, even with Case McCoy at quarterback.
All right, Jordan thinks they're going to carry that momentum into OU weekend. So, right. Camille, what do you got?
Yeah, I think Texas will definitely come out with the win on this game. With Case as the quarterback, I think that'll make the score closer, but I don't think it'll stop them at all. I think the main issue would be defense, not missing their tackles. But as long as they've played a lot better against Kansas State, I think they'll do a lot better this week as well. So I don't think it'll be an issue.
Okay, Peter?
Well, I think the defense actually is going to be the unit that carries them this week. This is not a very explosive Iowa State offense. They only average 3.6 yards per carry, under 7 yards per pass. And their quarterback only averages 2.6 yards per carry. Now, we've seen it a lot this year. The biggest issue for Texas has been running quarterbacks. They have a quarterback that has an ankle injury. He hasn't really run it that effectively anyway. So with that, coupled with the fact that Texas' offense should be much better than that of Iowa State's, I think that this game won't even be close regardless of Case or Swoops or even, with Ash not playing.
Yeah, I mean, you made a good point there. I think defense is going to carry the load for the team, and I think I'm going to have to go ahead and give Peter the point on this one. And also, DJ Johnson returning, that could be a big impact on the offense.
Deal.
And I'm sure we'll see Jonathan Gray carry the load again at running back, after the career day last week. So, well, guys, it's October, and that means one thing. The Major League Baseball regular season has finally come to a close, and the divisional series matchups are set to begin tomorrow night. The AL wildcard game featuring the Tampa Bay Rays and the Cleveland Indians is taking place right now as we speak. It's the last game to play before the divisional series. So, panelists, looking forward to the rest of the playoffs, who do you consider a possible sleeper team that will surprise some people and make a run at a World Series title? Camille?
I'm going to say the Pirates, just because they have a really strong pitching core and they have the whole season. I don't know too much about baseball, but talking to a lot of my guy friends are like, no, the Pirates have got this, no problem. So, Pirates.
Okay. I mean, yeah, they are carrying a lot of momentum. And 20 years since they've been in the playoffs, and they had that big win last night. So, Peter?
It's hard to imagine that I'm calling the Tigers a sleeper since they were one of the favorites to start the year, but they actually had the worst record of the division winners in the AL. And the Tigers have the best team in the American League. Miguel Cabrera and Prince Fielder form the best 3-4 punch in the lineup. The rotation is definitely the best in the American League. When you look at Max Scherzer was 21-3 this year. He gets the first start. Then you have a former MVP and Cy Young winner in Justin Verlander. Their number 3 starter led the league in the AL in ERA, and that's Anibal Sanchez. That's a really nasty rotation for such a short series, and I think that that's going to carry them all the way to the World Series.
Yeah, that's a good point. And you mentioned something similar with the short series and the good pitching staff for the Dodgers on the other side in the NL.
Those are my 2 picks.
Absolutely. I think those are good picks. Jordan?
I didn't even want to talk about this, really, because I'm a huge Rangers fan. And so I'm still just really kind of torn up, which also leads me to my answer, which I'm going to say, the real sleeper team, if they do make it, is Tampa Bay. But I think they have a lot of momentum coming off of their win over the Rangers. I think they're still beating Cleveland right now. That game's going on. But I think they're going to carry a lot of momentum. So, Tampa Bay.
All righty. I think I'm going to have to go ahead and give the point to Camille on this one. Pirates, like I said, 20 years since they've been in the playoffs, and I think they're carrying a ton of momentum in there. Clint Hurdle looks like a confident manager. They're playing well behind star Andrew McCutcheon, so I think I'm going to have to go ahead and give Camille the point on this one. Coming up next on College Crossfire, we'll take a look at the NFL, discuss a potential change to the NBA playoff system, and USC says goodbye to Lane Kiffin. Stay tuned. Welcome back to College Crossfire. Before we get into our second round of questions, let's get a quick score update. So to my right, the defending champion Peter has 1 point. Jordan, the veteran sports director, she's got 1. And Camille, the newcomer, in the lead right now with 2. Let's see if she can keep it up. So, panelists, I think we may have started a little College Crossfire curse here. A couple weeks ago, we talked about the possible firing of Lane Kiffin, and sure enough, he got the boot. On Sunday morning, he was fired following a 62-41 loss to Arizona State. Ouch. Kiffin had a career record of 28-15 as USC's head coach. So, was it the right move for USC to fire him at this point in the season? Peter?
Well, they might have had a record of 28-15, but this league is kind of what have you done for me lately? And they're just 10-9 in the last 2 years and 5-6 against one of the weaker major conferences in college football. So yes, this is definitely the move to make. USC entered the year last year as the number 1 team. They scuffled, did not win their conference. Still had Matt Barkley and the best receiving core I've ever seen in college football in Marquise Lee and Robert Woods. He was not able to do with that what he should have. It carried over to this year with a 3-2 start, and because of that, I think it was the right move.
Okay, good point right there. Jordan?
Peter hit the nail on the head with what my thinking of the justifying this is. It is a what have you done for me now? And obviously he hasn't done anything for them recently. I mean, look at the way people are talking about firing Mac Brown this year, and I think the only difference in that is Mac Brown's had more tenure at UT, or I think he might have even been gone. So I definitely think it's a good move. simply because he's not producing right now.
Yeah, I mean, his most successful season was, I believe, his second season when they went 10-2, but they were on probation. So, similar to Ohio State last year, nothing to lose when you're playing like that. Camille.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think this is a good move for USC, obviously, because he hasn't been doing very much for them recently. But on the other end of the side, their fans are not behind them at all because they hate Lane Kiffin so much. I have a few USC fans who win or loss with USC. It's just #fire Lane Kiffin for like 20 tweets. Like, they're just not with their team at all. And if you don't have your fans behind you, I think it becomes even harder for the players. So I think it's a good move.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point you made there. Attendance has been way down since struggling with Lane Kiffin, I mean, all year long. So everybody made good points here. Hate to do this again, but I'm go ahead and give everyone a point here. Start off the second round.
I'll take it.
So,
I'll take my
moving
point.
on to basketball, the NBA is considering changing its finals format to a 2-2-1-1-1 setup, the same format used by all of the rounds in the playoffs, and getting rid of the current 2-3-2 format that was adopted in 1985 to limit cross-country travel. The NBA's competition committee voted unanimously to get rid of the current format, but a final decision will not be reached until next month when it goes to a vote with league owners. So, panelists, would you guys be in favor of the NBA making this move to switch back to the 2-2-1-1-1 setup over the current 2-3-2 format? Jordan.
I'm totally in favor of it. I don't know why they changed it from that in the first place, but it's not the. I know they say the cross-country travel, but you get a day in between, and it's not like these teams are really struggling. I don't think they do fine in all the other rounds. Why is it any different in the finals? So I'm totally in favor.
Okay, Camille.
Yeah, I agree. I'm definitely in favor. They play the rest of the playoff tournament that way. What's the point in making the final series different? And it's not the 80s anymore. I don't think we need to worry about the whole East-West issue. I think we're good. Just keep going back to 2-2-1-1-1.
Yeah, I mean, planes do go a lot faster than they did back in 1985. So,
Yeah.
Peter.
And not just that, but there's a lot more parity in the NBA right now. It's not Celtics-Lakers every year. And like you kind of said, that was the main reason they did it. But when you look at the format right now, it totally benefits the road team because if they win one game at home on the road, then they get 3 at home. I mean, if they win 2 of those and they only have to win 1 more on the road, it should be even. If the home team loses 1 game in their first 2, they should have the same opportunity on the road. And because of that, they should definitely change it to this proposed format.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give Peter the point on this one. I like the point he made about the road team having the advantage, which is sort of defeats the purpose if you're the home team of having that home court advantage. So Peter's going to get the point on this one. And we're moving on. Last week we discussed a few of the winless teams in the NFL and who has the best chance to turn things around. But this week I want to know what the biggest surprise is in the NFL so far this season. There's still 5 teams that remain undefeated and 4 teams that remain winless on the season. So panelists, in your minds, what is the biggest surprise of the NFL season thus far? Camille, we'll start with you at the end.
I'd say I'm equally surprised by the Giants still being winless and the Chiefs still being 4-0. I think that's like an equal shocker for me, but probably more surprised by the Giants. Like, regardless of how bad their offensive line is, like, Eli Manning is your quarterback. You should be able to produce some kind of something. I don't know.
I agree. I mean, Tom Coughlin, championship coach as well, too. So, all right, Peter?
The biggest surprise has to be the fact that the NFC East has been so bad.
Shut your mouth, Peter!
Between the teams in the NFC East, they only have 2 wins out of the conference. That's between the 4 of them. Nobody is above 500 in the NFC East.
Cowboys!
And this is
Thank you.
This is a conference that had 3 teams in the discussion for the playoffs on the last day last year. This year, 8-8 might win it. Some of the best quarterbacks in football in this division. Everybody's underperforming so far. It has to be the fact that the NFC East is doing so poorly.
He's saying that Tony Romo is one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
All right.
That's what he just said. You heard it.
That gets some cheers from the audience, but Peter, good point you made there. NFC least, I agree. Jordan?
Camille touched on it. I'm going with Kansas City. I was sitting here trying to think, and I was talking with Julian, and he's like, how does that not pop up? And when you look at the change that has happened, that's a good point. How does that not pop up? They were, 2-14 the entire last year, and they already have 4 wins this season. So that's just the biggest surprise to me. Like, how does that change so much? You know,
Yeah.
I just am confused, but surprised, and okay.
You know, those are all good points. Surprised nobody said anything about the Browns, you know. After trading Trent Richardson and getting a lot of heat for that, making some plays out on the field and winning 2 games. So.
And the Vikings and
The Vikings as well, yeah. Alrighty, well, I think we have to give Peter the point again on this one. Love the point he made about the NFC least. So, sorry, guys.
Shut up.
Coming up next, it's everyone's favorite segment, Rapid Fire. We'll settle a little one-on-one debate and take a look at some band members' epic failure. All this and more coming up on College Crossfire. Stay here. Thanks for sticking with us tonight on College Crossfire. Before we get into our final round of questions, let's get another score update. To my right, Peter, the defending champion, with the lead, 4 points for him. Jordan, last but not least right now, anything can happen, it's rapid fire. You got 2 points. And Camille sits at second with 3 points. But like I said, anything can happen. Everything is worth 2 points. So, well, let's get right into it. Our first rapid fire comes courtesy of Longhorn football legend. This past weekend, former Texas Heisman Trophy winner Earl Campbell made a big statement calling for Texas to fire head coach Mack Brown. Campbell said, quote, "Nobody likes to get fired or leave a job, but things happen. I'd go on record and say, yes, I think it's time." He also went on to applaud USC for pulling the trigger on Lane Kiffin, and he even alluded to a possible replacement for Brown. So before we get into what you guys think, here's what Mack had to say in response. Take a look.
I was disappointed in the comments, but he's entitled to say what he thinks. And one of our guys talked to him last night, and I think some of the stuff gets taken out of context, and it grows fast nowadays, so it moves across the country.
So are you guys okay with Campbell making these comments? Anybody jump in here?
Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Why the heck not? I mean, he played here. He was a key player here. Like, he's entitled to weigh in on how he feels about his alumni program. Like, granted, it was kind of a jerk move, but he can say it if he wants.
I wasn't okay with it because he has a role with Texas sports. I mean, he's in the Texas sports organization still. He's not just a former player giving his 2 cents, wanting to see his old program do better. I mean, he still represents this organization, and he still makes decisions for this organization. So I think that it just doesn't look good for him to be talking badly about the current head coach.
Okay, Camille?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Peter. Like, he's obviously entitled to his own opinion, but he knows Mac means a lot to Texas, no matter how badly he does, and he knows that he himself means a lot to Texas. They'll always both be associated with UT, so to go and talk down on Mac Brown, no matter how he's doing, is going to upset somebody.
Okay. George, you got anything to say, rebuttal?
I mean, yes, I do. I'm just trying to think how to word it properly because, no, you know what?
No?
I can't, nope, I can't.
All right, well, I'm sorry then. Peter and Camille are going to both get 2 points on this one. So moving on, Michael Jordan is commonly referred to as the greatest basketball player of all time. Recently, he said that if in the prime of his career he played one-on-one with Miami's number 6, he would beat LeBron James. Jordan then went on to say that Kobe Bryant would be the only one with a chance to beat him because he, quote, steals all of my moves. Interesting comment there. But so, panelists, assuming that all 3 of these guys were in their prime and Jordan got a chance to play both of them, make a case for who you think would have a better chance of taking down the greatest of all time, the Black Mamba or King James?
I think it's King James just because he's so much more physical. He's bigger. I don't think that he's a better player than Kobe Bryant. He hasn't had a better career than Kobe Bryant. But one-on-one, he's a lot heavier, and he's 2 inches taller. So I think matching up against Michael Jordan, he would be better just because he's more physical and would be able to play better defense and also get to the basket easier against Jordan than Kobe would. Okay,
so you think LeBron's strength would lock up Jordan?
I think he would do more so than Kobe, who's a similar size, and I think he would also be more of an asset. I mean, LeBron is faster than Kobe as well.
Okay. Anybody else?
I was going to say Kobe just because I think Kobe is, throughout his career, a better player
Okay.
than LeBron, not than MJ. So I would go with Kobe.
Okay.
I
Camille?
was going to say LeBron just because I personally don't like Kobe Bryant.
And I don't
I have
like
some
LeBron.
kind of vendetta against him. I can't really explain
You have a vendetta against
either of
Kobe?
them.
I don't understand it. I can't explain it. I just
understand.
don't like
I totally understand. I don't like either of them.
Yeah. Yes.
I
but
don't
if
like either of them.
If I were to choose one that I like even more, it would be Kobe.
Did you hate less?
Yeah. Yes.
So you guys think, MJ, I'm just assuming you guys think he would beat all of
Oh
them?
my gosh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you're all taking MJ at the top.
Yes.
Peter says LeBron, Camille says LeBron. George, do you say Kobe though?
I say Kobe.
I think we have to give 2 points to Jordan here. I just think Kobe's will to win, and stealing. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and give you 3 points on to tie. to tie up the score at 5, I believe. So our third and final rapid fire question comes to us from our very own city of Austin, Texas. During the halftime show of last Thursday's game between Austin High and Lake Travis, the Lake Travis tuba team had a little accident mid-performance. Take a look at the video, folks. So the question here is, if you guys were the PA announcer in the stadium, how would you handle this situation? Would you mention it, or would you ignore it and pretend like it never happened? Anybody jump in?
How can you ignore
Two points for
that?
this. Whoever has the best answer wins.
I think it's actually impossible to ignore that. Like, everyone knows it just happened. You can't just, like, not touch on it.
Basketball players are
If
not there.
anything, I would just laugh. Like, I just give the normal human reaction and laugh.
Just be like, oh.
But I mean, for the points, something that you would say.
Something that I would say. Ooh. I don't know exactly.
We had some
what
good
I would
responses from
say.
our audience.
I think I would just be kind of silent.
We
like,
got a little backed up in the tuba section.
Jordan says a little back in the tuba section.
Fun aisle.
Unless you guys can come up with something better, Jordan has the win right now, locked up. Peter, you got anything?
I have no words.
So nothing? Camille?
No. She
Alrighty.
needs that.
Jordan, you're going to have FaceTime. You came all the way from behind in rapid fire, and you showed that anything can happen in rapid fire. And you got the win. Jordan, 30 seconds of FaceTime right now.
My FaceTime.
Oh, a minute of FaceTime.
Okay,
Wow.
well, I don't know if I can fill up that much time.
All right, we'll help you out.
But, okay, going off of the NFC wonderful East, Peter. My second biggest surprise besides the Chiefs was the fact that the Cowboys are technically leading the NFC East, because I'm just not used to it. So can we all just take a moment to appreciate that? All my Cowboys fans out here.
With a mediocre 2-2 record.
I don't care that it's 2-2. It's still top of the NFC East.
Who's excited for December?
Excuse me. So, that's all I wanted to touch on. Was I just want to take a moment to appreciate the Cowboys and their success thus far in the season.
Okay, and just before we close it out, score predictions for the UT game tomorrow.
35-21, Longhorns win.
Okay.
That's exact.
It's a lot of touchdowns.
42-28.
Wow. That's
Raise
even
me
more
one.
touchdowns.
Yes.
Camille.
28, 21,
Exactly.
Longhorns.
28, 21. All right, well, that's all the time we have for tonight, guys. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of College Crossfire. You can catch us every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. right here on TSTV. For all the latest coverage in UT sports, tune in to College Press Box Monday nights at 9:30 p.m. For everyone in the studio, Master Control, the panel, and myself, good night. You gotta be kiffing me. It's another episode of College Crossfire.